So as I was saying, the all the 11 channels in 2.4 gigahertz band overlap each other. So the channels which have been used in 2.4 band is the channels 1, 6, and 11, since they do not overlap each other. The 2.4 gigahertz is not encouraged to be used when compared with the 5 gigahertz band. When but since when there are cases where frequencies are lower, they travel further. So in that case, 2.4 gigahertz band allows more of a distance. Selecting which channel to use is very important when setting up the network initially. Many routers choose which channel to be used automatically. Each channel in the 2.4 gigahertz band is 20 megahertz wide. The entire spectrum is 100 megahertz. So all the level channels has to fit in the 100 megahertz, which means they will overlap each other except for the channels 1, 6, and 11. The 5 gigahertz band offers more bandwidth than the 2 gigahertz band. All the channels in the 5 gigahertz band use at least 20 megahertz channel width, but it is recommended to use at least 40 megahertz. The higher the channel width, the better the performance the whoever is connected, the client will experience. If there is less clients, but in cases where the client where there are many clients, it is recommended to use at least 40 megahertz channel width. The main disadvantage when comparing 5 gigahertz to the 2 gigahertz band is that the distance is low, and distance is low compared to the 2 gigahertz band, which allows more distance. Setting up a wireless router isn't just a matter of connecting a few cables. A few configurations should be done as well. Most of these configurations are done from the ISP, the Internet Service Provider side. Some ISPs actually charge extra for users to make their own configurations. By default, most consumer routers are set to use DHCP to assign an IP automatically to a computer. The router in your PC, the router given provided by the ISP, and the PC can be connected using an Ethernet cable at the initial stage, and the configurations can be done using a web browser or mobile app. Usually the mobile app owned directly by the, the ISP which provided the router as well. After entering the IP address of the router and clicking on enter from the browser, username and password will be asked, which will be most likely provided by the ISP. After logging in, a few changes should be made. Uh, uh, the default password of the router can be changed, and the setting of the band, which is 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz, and most probably the channels will be set to be assigned automatically, and the most common changes should be done, like changing the SSID of the network, and choosing a security protocol. Most likely would be WPA2, and choosing a suitable password, which is a strong password which contains letters, numbers, and characters. Finally, the configuration should be saved, and the Wi-Fi, the wireless router can be tested. There are three wireless security protocols, which are WEP, WPA, and WPA2. First of all, WEP. WEP was stopped using since 2004, since it had many vulnerabilities. The main goal of the WEP was to prevent hackers from snooping when the data is transmitted between the clients and the access points. An encryption key was used where the chances of that key being reused was very high, and due to that and many other concerns, the WEP was stopped from being used. Since the WEP was stopped using, the WPA came as a temporary solution. The WPA is having the enterprise mode and the personal mode. The enterprise mode uses the EAP, which is the Extensible Authentication Protocol, which requires an authentication server, and the personal mode, which uses pre-shared keys for the simplicity. The WPA2, which is a successor of the WPA, and WPA is mostly used in today's world, and the WPA2, just like the WPA, offers the enterprise mode and the personal modes as well. Although WPA still has a few vulnerabilities, it is still considered the most secure and the most widely used protocol. The WPA2 uses the advanced encryption standard, which has three block ciphers. Each encrypts and decrypts data in blocks of 128 bits using 128, 192, and 256 bit keys. The advanced encryption standard uses more computing power from client and access points. The W the main advantage of the WPA2 is that it allows clients to move from one API to another within the same network without needing to re-authenticate. The multiple input, multiple output has two or more antennas, which are to be used in the IEEE 802.11n variation Wi-Fi type. IEEE 802.11n type of Wi-Fi networks. Since multiple antennas are utilized, data throughput and range and more link reliability is increased. There are four types of multiple in, multiple out antennas used in the industry, which are ceiling, ceiling mount, omnidirectional, channel, and sector. And, thank you.